How are Gullah traditions expressed? Not traditions, superstitions and traditions. Let's half and half that. Um, how are they expressed? And I guess also, how do you see them being appropriated? How do you see them becoming a part of the greater Southern culture, and maybe in ways that people from the South may have been doing something and don't even realize it comes from Gullah
Right.
culture and the Gullah community?
Well, one example would be exactly what you just said, would be the colors of paint that Southerners would use, particularly in downtown and coastal cities where they would use this haint blue.
Mm.
And haint blue is a color that our ancestors would use to ward off spirits. And same thing we have with the blue bottles and hanging in a tree
Mm.
to capture these spirits as well. And you'll see them, you know, being sold. I've been, it's hard for me to even find blue bottles anywhere. Like I'm trying to,
Wow.
yeah, like try to find them. And when you do find a lot of them, they're in decorative stores or Michael's or whatever, and they're, you know, they cost a lot more than they would have if you had just been able to just go collect some bottles and tie them up like our ancestors did. Um, and even the color paint, they do it because it's traditional, like a traditional Southern thing, but they're not connected to the reason that it became a tradition. Like
Hmm.
it's not your tradition. And so it would imagine American people who are not of Chinese descent or culture having anything to do with them at all. Um, Doing those, like they do the dragon dance when they for traditional for like New Year's or whatever. Like just we make our own paper dragon and
Hmm.
do the dance in parades and everything. And when someone says, you're like, oh, hey, so you must be celebrating this thing, of the Chinese culture, and you get almost offended that it's associated with the people who created it.
Mm.
No, 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 no. This is different. They do a dragon. We do it almost like in Coming to America. That's McDonald's. This is McDowell's. They
What
have the
about
Big
Big
Mac.
Nick?
Exactly. They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick. That is not the same. It ain't the same. You know, and like, but we're so used to that. Like it is so common and normal to be ripped off that we almost expect it
Mm.
because, well, it's inevitable.
Hmm.
Um, and so when you see our paints that we would mix ourselves and create or whatever to paint our house, people are like, why is that house mint green? Like, why is that house a big yellow house or a blue, like baby blue house? Or, like, you gotta get you people got some strange color houses. That's why, because those colors are significant to things in our tradition. And then if you want to just really have a really rootsy sort of thing, then you use the color too, but you don't know the history of the color outside the culture. Now, I will say this: if you are inside the culture and don't know the meanings of the blue, so what? You in the culture, you don't even know everything, but
Mm.
is you're keeping a lot of the tradition that you can carry on, you may not know like academically, like nobody sat down and taught it to you, but you are the living embodiment of the culture.
Hmm.
So you can't co-opt your own culture. So oh well, you don't know it, and here comes the buck with them that then got a whole bunch of book learning about your culture. Did you know that the reason that this don't be shame when somebody outside your culture come and tell you something you didn't know, but you embody
Hmm.
because you got something they never will.
Right.
The height of their knowledge or the information, the height of their information will never match the depth of your embodiment of the thing that they have to Google
Mm.
or take some sort of, class in a school or university to know more about the thing that you already are. And so those what isn't co-opted, like what who was the racist lady that got caught saying the n-word, the white lady using all the butter and everything, she got butter,
Paul,
everything is butter.
Paula Dean?
Paula Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Paula Dean will bootleg black dishes, dumb them down, and turn them into, you know, essentially junk food.
Mm-hmm.
She turned our pile on the salt, the sugar, the fat, the grease, the butter, and then co-opt it as her own and call it Southern cuisine. They love calling something Southern cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Southern cuisine. It's Gullah Geechee cuisine.
Right.
It's Gullah Geechee cuisine that's been given this, had the label soul food slapped on it, but soul food as we know it has been turned into something that it is not. Like soul food, when you start talking about the baked mac and cheese swimming in butter, that'll be the soul food dish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Um, the fried chicken and all this other stuff that we associate with soul food, a lot of those things started out as Gullah Geechee cuisine, and there was a way that they were prepared that didn't have the same physical effect on the body, traditionally speaking, as what we turned into soul food. And a part of the reason is because soul food was not fostered in the same environment as Gullah Geechee cuisine.
Mm.
Now, in certain instances, they did have parallels. Okay, they did. But soul food is a generic name for traditional foods that were much better for us and also were connected to their African roots and their origin. It wasn't just that we did it, we actually had a presence of mind and a self-awareness of where it came from and why we do it this way. You see what I'm saying? There was
Mm-hmm.
a presence of mind and a self-awareness of when we plant certain things at night, when we plant certain things at certain times of day, when we would harvest those things. All of that went into the whole Gullah Geechee cuisine, our food ways. But it became easier to separate that us from the culture once we came up with this catch-all soul food, because you can just go get that from Church's Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go, you can go get your soul food from any number of sources without questioning or even examining where it came from or the origins of it. But if you go to get traditional Jamaican food
Mm-hmm.
or Cuban food, and food that are still steeped in the culture, and you don't do it right, you will get clowned out of town.
Right.
If
Right.
you make, you got to try to sell a bogus beef patty. There, what? Look at it, man. No, 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 no. And it's the soul food is to Gullah cuisine what Taco Bell is to traditional Mexican food.
Aha. Okay. All
You see what
right.
I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
it is very similar. And people be like, oh, you can't say that like soul food, like you trashing our traditions. We're like, no, 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 I'm not. What I'm saying is that Gullah Geechee cuisine is what we think soul food is.
Mm-hmm.
Gullah Geechee cuisine actually is that thing. And when we have and soul food is what we pretend Southern cuisine is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a question of soul food being this bad thing. It's just that having that catch all has made way for people who are not a part of our culture to co opt and sift off and siphon from our culture because they're not held to the same standards of Gullah Geechee cuisine to do it the traditional way, to know the things and the difference and why the ingredients are what they are. Like if you're out here pretending that what you're doing is Gullah Geechee cuisine, the bar is higher.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But if you're just cooking soul food, then
Go to
you can
Bojangles for that.
right. You can do that. You can cut some corners and because you're not obligated to any one particular subset of the culture or any aspect of the culture. You don't need to know
Mhm.
some of the things that you would need to know in order to be worth your salt as a Gullah Geechee chef.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so um I don't, I ain't gonna put nobody name out there, but I've had this conversation with some known Gullah Geechee, chefs who feel this way. And maybe they don't always express it because I think that they don't want people to feel like they're being elitist,
Mhm.
or that somehow being divisive. But we can't just keep running to those terms anytime somebody says something that goes against um what's been normalized as our perception of a thing. Like, sure, it doesn't necessarily get along and go along with the conditioned idea of what this thing is, but there's a there, and if we accept it, if we open ourselves up to a new perspective, we can then, that doesn't mean we'll give up soul food, but we can raise the bar for soul food.
Right.
So, you see what I'm saying? So understanding how soul food came to be and what's been allowed to happen to it, and its source being Gullah Geechee cuisine, will then allow us to say, oh, okay, well, I feel you, brother. In that case, instead of just letting, um, you know, Megan and Dak, you know, Chad and Dakota open their, soul food restaurant in our neighborhoods and sell us back our culture, we'll set the bar a little higher. There's a scene in Do the Right Thing where Mookie asks Sally, says, "Oh, black people on the wall. You know the black people on the wall. Like, what's up? These are this Italian restaurant. It's a pizza shop. I got Italians on the wall." He said, "Yeah, but you in a black neighborhood. Like, the black people on the wall. You know, in that instance, it'll be like, you know what? I have had some food that was supposed to be soul food in certain establishments. You could strike a match on the meat, and I'm like, if this is what y'all passing off as brisket,
Mm-mm.
you know what I mean? And it's a no for me. It's a no, bruh. And that's why I get. The ancestors been like over my shoulder, like, see, and that's what you get for
Mhm.
coming here in the first place. You deserve that brisket just now.
Right.
And so I think it's just one of those things where the more we level up our understanding of origin and where things come from, and the fact that we don't always have to go back to Africa, we don't have to date everything back to Africa to find roots
Mhm.
for a thing, because Gullah Geechee as a language is indigenous to the Americas.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that has value in and of itself.
Of course.
Now, everybody's from somewhere. I mean, we're all from Africa in some way, shape, or form. Everybody everywhere is from Africa in some way, shape, or form. So there's that. But even in Africa, culture evolves. Like, people migrate, people move from different places or whatever. It's not static. The people who live in modern day, wherever it is, small town Africa, didn't always live there.
Mhm.
So that migration and evolution and growing of the language and the traditions, like, that happens everywhere, including the motherland. So don't discount it happening here. It has meaning and value here.
Mhm.
We Yes, we brought things over from Africa. We still have so much that we attribute to it and learn from it and gain from it, but we also gave back.
Right.
you
Right.
know God bless the African, the continental African or whatever, but God bless the African American too, and the Afro Cuban, Afro Latina, and wherever we are throughout the diaspora,
Mhm.
wherever if you are, whether you subscribe to the term black or not, or whatever your identity may be throughout the diaspora, I got nothing but love for all of your contributions, because we're in this together.